Welcome back to the most professional StarCraft 2, where I'm excited but somewhat alarmed to be introducing the hybrid player in the top right, the world champion Zerg, spawning as Protoss. It's the Italian stallion. It's Reynor. And up against the Zerg player he beat to claim that world championship a couple years ago. In Zerg versus Zerg, the #1 player in the world, the finisher. It's Serral. Serral has over a 90% win rate in Zerg versus Protoss. Reynor has been somewhat outspoken about the struggles of Zerg versus Protoss overall, despite probably being the second or third best Zerg versus Protoss player himself. But there's a massive gap between Serral and everyone else. I don't know if Reynor can bridge it. Every time we've seen someone pull off something like this, it's kind of been some sort of gimmicky all-in or timing designed to take advantage of something that maybe Protoss players hadn't been using and abusing as much. But if you think Zerg players are just better, or you want to see Reynor put back in his place, well, it'd be awesome if you could like and subscribe. And, Jimmy, what? 1,208 likes on this Protoss versus Zerg match. And, I'll cast another series. I'm not going to guarantee it's another hybrid match. I can count the number of these sort of games on... Well, maybe it would take both hands, but it's such a rarity. Well, hopefully you've had a good day so far, and hopefully it's about to get a little bit better. This, over any other match from Homestory Cup, was recommended the most to me. So, even if you've seen it before, if you made it this far into the video, hopefully you enjoy. I've done everything I can not to spoil myself, especially in how... I already know how Serral... You already know how Serral plays. Okay, like, that's not a spoiler. Serral is a spoiler in and of itself. I mean, himself, totally. Robotic slip. But, like, Scarlet occasionally has come out with some Protoss, now and again. Reynor himself has done it, but to underwhelming results in tournaments. Rarely do tournaments allow you to switch race like this, especially higher profile ones. But it's not really been an issue, as it's essentially like being a goalkeeper in any other position on the field. It's just, while you're playing the same game, it requires a different set of skills that essentially it's impossible to, if you're splitting your training between those two things, you're just not going to be as competitive. But Reynor is the fastest player in the world, the most APM, and he's not shy about using it as well. He's starting off with a Phoenix here. Some other players who have switched, and once again, just such a short list. Neeb was Terran before Legacy of the Void when he switched to Protoss, and obviously, if you didn't know that, that's how well he was doing with Terran. TLO, many years ago, over half of Reynor's age ago, was a Terran player, but switched eventually to Zerg. I don't know if it was random to Terran to Zerg or Terran to random to Zerg, but eventually ended up as a Zerg player, another high-profile example. There are a couple other, like Gumiho was a random player for about a year before he switched to Terran. But none of this has happened recently. It's incredibly rare that even a single game is played by the off-race players, as everything is so figured out because of players like these two, especially Serral, but the skill ceiling is... it's impossible for us mere mortals to really comprehend it. But who knows more about beating Zerg than Reynor? Okay, Serral, you can't just... We're just putting Serral off to the side. Okay, that's what you gotta do. I count Reynor as something of a mortal player. You see, when he does strategy, sometimes he gets bogged down by... I'm gonna get confused by the Zerg during this cast, I think, occasionally, but it's gonna take some doing after casting hundreds of games of Reynor as Zerg, and occasional Protoss, but... Reynor has made some videos, some shorts as well that have been quite... Oh, okay, picks up the Queen. Go with the triple Oracle Micro here. Splits one off. Wow. Steals 6 drones out from under the Queen. Good. Not... He didn't lose anything, so... At the end of the day... This is also one of the most defensive maps. It's almost impossible, especially for Zerg, to assault the first 3 bases of Protoss or Terran. You're pretty much relegated to smashing a 4th base when it comes out, or doing some sort of crazy like Nidus, or wait a second, Swarm Host? Because that is an odd timing for an infestation pit. Now the Swarm Host, I'm just trying to think of what Hive Tech would be in it. I'm coming up with... It never hurts to have Vipers. Vipers are a great unit. But Hive Tech against a defensive Protoss is not the game-ending move. I would love to actually see a few Swarm Hosts attempted. I don't know if Serral has deemed them, Ricky and the boys, an accident at best. The Overseer, you know, having that one Phoenix does kind of shut down Serral's tendency to occasionally come in for a Contaminate, but just constantly scout with the Overseers. The Oracle Micro is top-notch. Wait, are those APM? Reynor has 530 APM with Protoss. Now, alright, so there is a lot of spamming there. But even if over half of it is spam, that is still by an order of... They're the Swarm Host. Okay, that is still by an order of magnitude the highest Protoss APM I've ever seen. And it... rarely does it break 400. Certainly never 500. I've never seen 500. We'll see. We'll have to keep checking. Jimmy, take the tab off the... Thank you. 10 Swarm Hosts, 7... He's gonna have 15, 20 Swarm Hosts on the way here. He's got, yeah, over 10 now. Blink Stalkers all around. Twilight Council obviously done. Templar Archives on the way. Nidus up towards the north side. And Serral just gonna try to use and abuse the defensive posture of that Nexus at the back, which you're usually considered to be safe. But instead... And Serral trying to catch the army out on the map. Keep him busy so he can't deal with the Swarm Host. Great force fields there. Zoning out the Roaches. No Ravagers to deal with it. The Forge is... I like the... classic Chrono there. Almost certainly going to die, but don't worry. If I just get another minute and a half, I'm going to finish that upgrade. The Locust, though slightly distracted, will not kill the Nexus in the first volley. How do these Zealots... Oh, Serral just didn't take the back base, which means a decent beachhead for the Warp Prism. Alright. Rubble Bay on the way. Very notably, no Fleet Beacon, no turtling to carriers or anything like that. Another couple smart, just trickling them in. They do so much damage, those Locusts over there. Short but eventful lives. Oh my god. Did 6 more probes. Reynor's at 8, and he plummets to a 12 probe lead. Wow. He has not been stingy with the probes this game. Putting more defenses together. Serral going to assault the base on the outside here. Smashing that 4th base is the main priority, as that is the one that really sticks out like a sore thumb and makes it easy to put right back down. More forges. He's going up to 3 forges. You can never have too many. Well, you can have too many, but in case Serral keeps killing him. He did get that +1 shield denied. Serral, Nidus is everywhere. Still 100 more average APM. He's keeping up. You know what? Let's go to the Reynor action cam here. See how he's handling these units. Double Chrono on the Colossi. Back to the main. Oh my god, he's using base cameras like he's a Zerg, which, you know, makes sense. So the Colossi come out, gonna try to burn through the Locust. Is it gonna be enough? He tries to force field, but that Nexus falls. Not quite enough, but the Colossi not a bad option against the Locust, as they do have to hit the ground before they can attack. Still, though, Reynor on the back foot. His Stalker stumbling around, his Colossi now prancing out, but has not been able to do anything to slow Serral down. And Serral now... Oh, well, that's an awkward situation. Whoa, whoa, whoa! The Swarm Hosts, he killed the Nidus before the Swarm Hosts were able to get back. And that now leaves him vulnerable. They're gonna get taken out. I feel like Serral is kind of... Hey, he's killed a Nexus. He goes for 2. Oh, and an escape Nidus! Ah, but he kills it before the swarm host. Ricky and the boys will be slaughtered. Is this a recall situation? Oh, gets the... wow, he's just... You know, those stalkers are pretty... They're doing pretty well for themselves. He gets to the back corner. If you're gonna recall, now or never. Well, he's just fighting. You know, I kind of like how he isn't recalling. Every Protoss I've ever watched would have recalled there. He's going to lose the stalkers, but actually the trade isn't that bad. Overall, over the last minute, with all those swarm hosts especially, I believe... Reynor killing... those are changelings, more than likely. But the stalkers using the surface area by the mineral line. One of my top 5 out of an innumerable number of pet peeves is Protoss players who will recall in situations where, at best, they'll get a handful of units out. And if you recall those stalkers, you're gonna get like 10 stalkers back. And I mean, 10 stalkers, they hit like a wet paper bag, or actually a dry paper bag. Which, with nothing in it, it's just like a piece of paper. Okay, they're pretty weak, is what I'm trying to say. Anyways. Oh, wow. Mass lurker drop here. What does Reynor have? Well, he's not a terrible anti-lurker army. He's able to bring it to bear, but those lurkers are going to try to abuse the airspace there. Reynor coming in from the north side. 2 immortals on the way. He spots the lurker as well. They're going to slice through the queen, but gets sliced in turn, and here comes the drop. And is it spotted? He's waiting for his moment. Serral trying to time this out with the rest of his units coming across the map. The drop coming in towards the back. The 12 o'clock. The lurkers. The roaches. The zerglings. He's actually scattering it. It looks like he might go for the main. No. Going to try to overwhelm this base. There's actually only 3 lurkers here. There's the recall out of Reynor with more than a proportionate response. And I think the key point of this so far is Reynor is holding his own with Serral. Serral by no means has a decisive advantage. And in fact, it's arguable Reynor right now has the advantage. As he's at 5 bases, he's got more workers. The lurkers are not hitting a timing before Reynor has a counter here. There are 6 immortals on the field, and Reynor is boxing him out of all these bases. There's now a greater spire on the way. Corruptors. Reynor's APM is still at exactly the same number. That's blowing my mind more than anything else. It's been 537 average. Oh, okay, it does move. Oh my god, the consistency is uncanny. I don't know how you do that. We just keep checking it at opportune times, I guess, but like, that is madness to me. No, it's still oh my god. Serral's fluctuated 10 to 20 each one. Well, there we go. 2 more Stargates. Fleet beacon on the way, but Reynor's he's keeping such an active presence on the field that Serral has had to retreat. He's sent everything every which way and ended up without enough to really pressure Reynor. And now, oh my god, that spore isn't burrowed. Looks like Serral realizes a moment before Reynor does. But the oracles will get some more kills. The fact he's still getting kills with oracles, more lurkers, and swarm hosts, like the survivors of the purge. Oh, the oracles go down. Those are very immediately rebuilt. Knows how important it is to have that mobile detection. That's the hardest part by far of dealing with the lurkers. Ultralisk Cavern on the way for Serral. His base starting to get cross-sectioned by the lurkers here. There are no more oracles on the field. So, and Serral very intentionally splitting those lurkers to avoid detection. A fake dropper lord dragging some units back. The lurkers, finally, the observer comes out. Snipes off a prism as well. Serral taking back the momentum here. The lurkers are finally dealt with. Up to the north side, more dropper lords. A surviving swarm host. Richard, no longer Ricky. After all this, he went back. He took a vacation back at the Zerg base to recover. And now, as the lone survivor, will begin the assault again. He knows nothing but war. That Phoenix, I think that's the Phoenix. Oh, 6 kills. That Phoenix has been taking down the overlords. That one Phoenix is denying Serral with at least the occasional drop. Has to make him think twice about it. And he could continue building either more or adding in even some Void Rays if he thinks it's too much of a threat. But we're both maxed out here, 2-3-2, with more upgrades on the way. Mass cannon. There's a roach there. For some reason, there's still a roach, bro. Just now getting the adrenal glands upgrade. Chitinous plating. Now, there's no way to get exactly down there. The drop is coming in, but there are already stalkers and zealots in position. A few reinforcements. Blink stalkers over the top of the mineral wall. Both players trying to work their way over some of the terrain blockers. But overall, I think Reynor is getting more done. This very active Protoss, so he's actually upped it. 540 now. And Serral's dropping? Well, both in and out of game in the APM. The Broodlord Lurker, though, is a very methodical. This is a tough composition to beat. Will Reynor now? He's been building the air upgrades for a while, but he hasn't yet gotten carriers or tempests. We'll see if he goes for it. That is so many. Oh my god, the one broodling. Ah! Oh no, Richard. Oh, those are changelings. All right. Hallucinated Colossus. Oh, I think that was an accident. Actually draws out the broodlings. Such advanced upgrades here from both sides. We're gonna have 2-1 in the air, and +3. It's gonna be 3-3-3 momentarily for Reynor. The lurkers are slicing up the bottom right nexus off of that Nidus. Ultralisk speed is on the way. No late game air, late game sky toss yet out of Reynor. But also no ultras or, well, just ultras for the most part. Does he have Neural Parasite? He does not. There are 6 infestors on the field. No lack of Neural Parasite. There, Serral agrees. Maybe a bit of an oversight. Reynor's actually building up more of a bank. And we're getting down to the point where the gold base in the center of the map, the one that Reynor just had denied by Zerglings, is going to end up being the last base on the map. Oh, an Archon getting caught. Serral's supply is dipping here. Reynor back down to 537. That is just... that's uncanny. That is... it feels bugged. But most of the bugs are on the other side of the map. Oh my god, he's just keeping up with it. And he's building 3 more Stargates. He already has 3. He's going up to 6, 7 Stargates! What? Well, when he doesn't carry, he's going to switch like he's Zerg. He's not going to add like 2, 3 carriers or Tempests. It's going to be 7 at a time. Which... wow. Okay. He's playing Protoss like Zerg, and right now, Serral is the one who's struggling to keep up. He has less than 1,000 minerals in the bank to Reynor's 5k, but some Fungal's gonna hold down those Archons. Broodlords raining down, and they will be taken out. The Corruptors knocked down the Colossus as well. Another round of Stalkers is warped. It actually blinks at a single Stalker to snipe the Infestor, gets it, and gets out with the rest of the army. More Infestors on the way, +3 air attack, and +2 Carapace for Serral. We may max out the upgrades. In fact, it looks more likely than not at this rate. Reynor keeps holding up. He has 7 Stargates now. 7 Stargates! They're scattered all throughout the map. He's got 2, 3 over here. I really like that as well. So many times we'll see the production just hamstrung when a single base gets taken out that happened to have everything jammed at it. He's going up to 20 gateways. This is full Zerg Protoss here. The question, like the big question is when he switches. If he can, I think he wants to force out more lurkers. Because right now, Serral has enough Broodlords and Corruptors. Looks like a Colossus went down. Ooh, some of the Observers taken out. I think he wants to get more of a commitment to the ground army out of Serral before he decides to switch to air. Because right now, Serral does have enough in the air to really challenge anything but a pure Sky Toss army. Those are +3, +2, going on +3 Carapace Corruptors. The ground army, though, Infestor Broodlord, a classic tactic. Oh, just not quite enough. That Carapace Really showing its strength here, but the Immortals are coming in from the back. Does he have an observer? Oh, wait, who's outflanking who? What a fight this is! Reynor is the one running down the the Zerg army. But I think the Lurkers are going to remain unchallenged. He sniped off that last observer. The outflank here. Another Lurker going down. The Immortals just bashing through. More Fungals to hold him in place. The Lurker spines just cutting a wave through the Protoss. And Reynor has to be careful. He warps in 12 more Stalkers. He's still not happy. He still doesn't want to go Sky Toss. But the way he's playing... In fact, it's Reynor taking the 6 o'clock base, which will put him at over half the map. Right? That's wrong. You are incorrect. That's not how that's supposed to work. But Reynor is so active with these units, and he's making it work. He takes out another Broodlord before it can be morphed in. More Corruptors. I think Serral is aware of the danger of eventually... Oh, there's only a couple Corruptors left. He's building some Hydras. And jumps over the top. The Fungal's good, but he's already in range. Oh, the Lurkers are going to slice through. 18 Zealots warped in. Oh my god, a cinematic of Zealots are warped into the natural. 6, he sees Hydra spawn, he starts 6 carriers. Hydras are not an anti-air unit, in case you were wondering. Some of those are changelings, making it very often. Whoa, wait. A weird amount of changelings in that fight. 6 carriers on the way, because that's all he could build with his supply. He has plenty of money. Serral is starting to really bank up a lot now. He's finally taken the lead in the resources. A vanguard of spores and spines will hold it at bay. A mothership is on the way. Very dramatic Zealot death. Reynor is playing so 550 APM. That is insane. Our Zerg players just bet. And it shows. I've never seen Serral put so far on the defensive, especially with this sort of army. Reynor is maintaining this ground army. He's only now adding in carriers, but he's using it for all it's worth. He's treating it just like it's Zerg. And Zealots are a lot more scary than a Zergling or two. The production tab is empty for Serral, which is quite odd. We have more carriers. It's going to be a fully operational, fully upgraded Protoss army momentarily. He has 3 on the ground, plus 3 shields included, plus 3 attack, and now closing in on plus 3 air armor. A fully operational Sky Toss armada. But Serral is already at full 3s across the board. The upgrades are maxed out, I guess besides Storm at this stage. The Lurkers coming in from the right side, the Nidus. Just... Reynor is everywhere right now, as is Serral, though. He's not giving up. He's not playing passively. He's still finding opportunities to get the damage done. The worker counts are starting to drop, but I think part of that is simply they don't have that many bases left to mine from. The Nidus is taken out, cutting off the escape route. Their lives for ire. An escape Nidus is attempted, but Reynor closes in. The jaws shut. Metaphorically, as Protoss don't have mouths. And the mothership has arrived. Is he actually going to do a mass recall? Wow. Okay. And a pre-time warp. Is there an observer? There is. The Lurker goes down immediately. The Corruptor's trying to intercept. He recalled the rest of his ground army while he's building Sky Toss. Strategically, an incredible move. He drags Serral as far back as possible while building mass carrier. And then he recalls out a few. They'll expect some of us in the wreckage, brothers. He gets out with the majority of the ground army while still distracting, and now the carriers have arrived. A changeling allows another Nidus to come online, but Serral is struggling to keep his bases together. Reynor, though, is spending so much more money. He's lost 5,000 more minerals, and he's actually lost about 500 less gas so far. A Nidus to the south. and the probes are opening up the long-distance mining wall. The Zerglings can't do anything about it. They have to wait for it themselves. I'm not sure if that's going to make it easier or harder for Reynor to keep that base to the south. But Serral, as long as he doesn't lose resources, you don't have to mine them that quickly. So, but Reynor is mining from that southern base. Yeah, the choke point seems like it's helping potentially Serral out more than it's helping Reynor as a single gap. I don't think Archons, well, maybe Archons can get through that. The new Archons, as of this year. A bit more slippery. Void Rays. 5 Void Rays added in. A whole bunch of extra potential damage. But the storms abducts onto the Void Rays, but the storms doing terrible, terrible damage across the Corruptors. And Reynor is not going to slow it down. He gets the army in. A single gap, a breach, and he breaks through. The Lurkers are not enough. The Immortal Archon army. The beefy Chad Toss army here. Just breaking through. The Lurkers are forced to retreat yet again. Serral actually still has a lot of resources here. He didn't expand to the back until way late in the game. So he still has most of those mineral patches, while Reynor is still mining from the base next door. Another Lurker targeted down. The Immortals are bogged down by the Broodlords. Where are the carriers throughout all this? Reynor down to 160 supply. Serral maintaining a max out. The Broodlings almost killing, but the... Where are the Corruptors? He's burning through the Broodlords. But wait, here come the Corruptors, looking for more. But the Templar already here storms the last Lurker, and there's nothing on the ground to challenge the Templar. And without anything to deal with the Templar, the storms against the storm may be a great game, but it's not as great when you're playing Zerg. The storms are unchallenged. There are no Ultralisks or Banelings to deal with it. He pats the pylon on the back. It's not quite enough. He's going for the full fight here. The Broodlords blinks over the top. Fungal, not quite on point. Targets down another Brood. Carrier's a bit distracted by the spores moving up. More Fungals landing. Another storm hits the midst of the spellcasters. Feedbacks popping some more. Negating the energy. Catching more of the Stalkers. Reynor losing the supply for now, but he does have the resources to rebuild yet again. He's going to refill the carriers as well. Retreat through that single gap, and Serral does not have another base. He's starting to run out of mining. Reynor has had the advantage for 5+ minutes so far, and Serral is on the... Don't let the supplies fool you. This is not a fun place to be for Zerg. He still has nothing to kill the carriers directly. Reynor has not lost a singular carrier so far. It's only 6 of them. He has enough to severely threaten anything on the ground and force out an overwhelming amount of Corruptors to even challenge it. Serral is running out of resources, though he did deny Reynor's center gold base. The army composition could go either way. Both players, poking and prodding. I am fully confident. 566 APM. The Broodlings, wow. The range, sometimes they just get ambitious. Using the shield batteries at his forward base to reshield. Is he gonna storm the Broodling? Everything's slowing down. Yeah, as both players are starting to run low on money, on income. I've never seen a Protoss player go toe-to-toe to this extent with Serral in the late game. But we are at that point where Serral has the army that only he can control. Serral has the army right now that causes Reynor to play Protoss. Reynor hates playing with that army. Hates might be a strong word, but I think it's accurate based on his gameplay. He really likes this active multi-prong style, and if he can't have it with Zerg, he'll have it with Protoss. 3 Tempests on the way. He's got an expeditionary force up to the north side. With Templar Archons, he's got a full mix, even if it is a smaller army. Some Ultralisks are on the way. What a game. Oh my god. Reynor gonna force the issue. He's building 3 Nexa at a time right now. He barely has enough money for another one. So, he's really trying to force Serral. He repartitions his army. This is a lot to deal with. There's still lurkers. The spores, he's clearing up the creep. Serral has been boxed into his corner for quite a while now. The Nexus goes down, cancels the last second. Feedback, he's got the watchtower here, but there's a fungal, but gets 2 more. The Templar throws a storm into the mix as well. May lose the Templar, but I think it was worth it. He saved it! The shield battery! 1 HP! Another Nexus is gonna go down, it looks like, to the Cracklings, ripping it to shreds, I say. Oh my god. But the Archons will make them pay. That is a way, like, I'm not sure. It's a maze of spore crawlers there. Almost, neither the Ultras nor the Archons can get through that easily, which I think favors the defender Serral in that case. But Reynor is building up the minerals again. He's taken his gold base. We're getting down to it. Oh, but the Tempests are a bit exposed, looking for the abducts. Oh, he turns it around. Neural Parasite there. But where are the feedbacks? Gets a storm. Tempests are dangerous, but Templar are more so. And Microbial Shroud on the ground. The Tempest helping siege forward. I don't know if he got a carrier for the first time. Still, no carriers have died. No mothership rebuilt. The mothership was just used for the ground army, but Reynor is moving in towards the center. And Serral is late on dealing with it. He's now losing some of the Broodlords. Some of the static defenses moving up to help everything on the ground. But going to assault the base with the ground army. Once again, Reynor might be able to outflank. Serral has been holding the line. He still has that incredible army, transfusing the morphing Broodlord. He burrowed the drone underneath. Reynor up to 564 APM. Okay, Reynor is the fastest Protoss player in the world. And this game is making an argument for best. I bet Reynor wouldn't want to play PvP, though. The struggle for most Protoss. Serral, still, if Reynor missteps for even a half second, he could easily lose the majority of his army. That is an impossible one to replace at this point. Serral the same way, it's Serral, so you don't really think of it that way. Serral's army is worth 10,400 minerals and 8,300 gas. It's 50% more value than Reynor's. Part of that is the army supply. 164 to 133. Changelings are holding the watchtower, which is a surprisingly good option because they won't be automatically targeted. Serral is slowly but surely moving out to take his base, but he's got no more mineral mining or gas. He's only got this gold. He's out of money. Oh, but assimilation successful. He neural parasites one of the Archons, but there is an observer there. It's enough. Reynor closing in from both sides. The carriers are looking for the Broodlords. The Corruptors are a little out of position. The Interceptor's unleashed here. And the base itself, the Infestors wandered a little far forward. And Reynor's ground army is able to snipe him off alongside the hatchery. Reynor is bleeding him out right now. There is not enough money left. He gets a brood. He goes for 2, 3, and more. GG! Reynor beats Serral as Protoss. He loses 7,000 more minerals. I gotta say, that is possibly the most well-played Protoss game I've ever seen. Yes, it's a tough map for Zerg, but every map is a tough map against Serral. That was not a gimmick. That was not an all-in. Reynor outplayed Serral. Wow. Wow. Well, I hope you enjoyed. I certainly did. I learned a lot. My wrists hurt secondhand for it, but oh yeah, that's Reynor's final APM. On average, 568. It only went up. And it showed. well, that certainly is cause for discussion, I think. So, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Congratulations, Reynor, on being one of the essentially 3 people in the world to take a game as Protoss against Serral this year. If I made your day a little bit better, if you got the means and motivation, be awesome. Check out Patreon. Thank you to TakeTV for Homestory Cup, as always. Otherwise, good luck. Have fun. I'll see you next time. Make sure autoplay's on the right video. Maybe go check out the Stormgate one if you'd like. Either way, good luck. Have fun. See you next time. Stay chill.